Hi, this is Audrey.
And this is Harry.
We're the BS Travelers. We're coming at you live from steamy Phuket, where we're bringing you episode 9, South American Wine Country. So it's been a long time since we've done a vlog.
I think we're a little rusty at this point.
We're very rusty.
We're like, we don't even know how to set up. We were supposed to set up that way, but now it's getting late in the day, and now we're facing this tree and the pool. So and we're sweating to death.
We're sweating. It's about 100 degrees humidity, right? There's mosquitoes.
And I have a little surprise for Audrey. My goal and plan is 3 vlogs in 3 days, since we're so far behind. So here's day 1. Maybe tomorrow, vlog 2, and then the next day, 3.
That's true, because I'm chopping at the bit to talk about India, so I'm kind of actually really motivated to do so, but thank you. But we have to get through South American wine country because, as we keep telling you, the point of these vlogs is to keep documenting our travels and bringing some tips to fellow travelers that may come across these as they're researching their own RTW trips or other holiday vacations. So
yeah, just to make it easier, right?
Yes.
Especially somewhere like Patagonia wine country,
where it is not easy.
Not a lot of information on
No, we kind of prided ourselves on saying that we were the pioneers of Patagonia wine country, because if you do research online, there is nothing out there for winos to help get through, get through that area. Yeah. So we just wanted to bring some tips and let you know what we found out.
Why did we decide on Patagonia wine country, Audrey?
So the backstory is that when we were in Bariloche and we were getting our wine, that wonderful cheap Argentina wine, and by the way, we did splurge.
The Melbeck.
But no, here in Thailand.
A couple times.
Yeah, we splurged to get some wine today for our wine country vlog. So anyway, back to Bariloche, where we're in Bariloche and we're buying some wine, and we come across this bottle of Patagonia wine country. It's Rio Negro. And there's this map on there that kind of shows the area of wine country there, right? And we had it in ourselves. We're like, there's just something about this. We want to get here, right?
Yeah. Just especially to break up the road trip from Bariloche up to Mendoza.
Yes, because it's an 18-hour ride.
Yeah, it's far. So we wanted to break that up.
So why not stop in a wine country that very few people do travel to? So let's get started on it, right?
Let's do it.
So we started...
we left San Martin de los Andes.
Yes.
Right? And then so we ended up decided to start in the Neuquén area. So we actually stayed in Chapaladi, which is right next door to Neuquén. We ended up staying at a pretty nice hotel because it was New Year's and it was pricey. It was like about $100 a night. But looking back, it was well worth it because there was literally nowhere else to stay for us.
No.
And we were like the only people there, so we were almost treated like royalty.
Yes.
It was brand new.
Yes, and like he said, it was New Year's Eve weekend, or the holiday.
Yeah.
So we had a couple things going against us during that time. First, we didn't carry cell phones, so as we're trying to plan this time, we could not call anybody. And overall, in general, we've learned that in South American wine country, it is very, very difficult to get a hold of a lot of these wineries and bodegas.
Especially through email.
Yes.
Nobody answers you.
You're kind of at the mercy of whoever answers your email or who you could get in contact with. So prior to that, I'm sending out all these emails to all these wineries, all these bodegas, and I'm not hearing back from anybody. In addition, it was the holiday weekend, so of course a lot of these people are not going to be around for New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve is a global event, so it's a holiday.
So I remember this. So you spent tons of time.
I did.
And then I remember I sent out one email and I got the reply. And it was the person we ended up using.
Yes, that's his lesson or luck.
And we'll have to list it who we sent the email to end up with. What was her name?
Mary Jo.
Mary Jo.
Yes. And for whatever reason, thank goodness we came across her name, because you need a guide in this area.
And she is like the only one there.
Right. And so,
unless you go with some large tour group, but if you want
I don't even think there were large tour groups there. So we randomly came across her name, and she ended up being a great benefit to our...
Tons of connections in that area. So she took us to like Secreto Patagonico.
Yes.
Which was very cool, very small winery. We just had a great tour there. They took us into the cellar. And it was more about just enjoying the wine than the actual tour, which I liked.
Well, because this is what's interesting. We would show up at these wineries, and even though she had established some contacts, made some reservations, there were times where we'd show up and no one would even be there to answer the gate.
Good for her.
Yes. So even though we had reservations, she had it all planned out for us, people would not be there. And in addition, don't forget, we're always working against the language barrier too, because the majority, of course, of these people, these small wineries, they're speaking Spanish. So again, she was a great contact to come across.
Yeah. And I think the main reason people go to Patagonia wine country right now is for the Pinot Noir. That's like the varietal that sort of the up-and-coming new varietal for that region.
Right.
So it was really cool to try that, you know, from the source, I thought. But Mary Jo, we'll add her email address and her contact information just so you can get a hold of her. Really, just a day or two is needed there. It's a great place to stop on the way up to that Mendoza area region. I think.
Yeah, I do.
And what about our first night in the hotel? This is how bored the people were. We went up to the pool, we wanted to check it out, there was a hot tub, and then all of a sudden there was like an older man there working. He obviously has nothing to do. All of a sudden he walks by with like a jug of bubbles.
Right.
Of soap.
So we're kind of sitting in this
We're
little
kinda sitting in
hot
this
tub, kind of
and all of a sudden
enjoying.
he just dumps in like
Yeah, no, he
a
literally
gallon.
walks by and like kind of laughs and dumps in all these bubbles. And
Like
so
a gallon.
we had this great bubble bath on top of this rooftop
Yeah.
pool, and it really kind of added to
It was
our
nice.
experience there. So
A great way to kick off Patagonia wine country.
sure thing.
The highlight of Patagonia wine country.
Right. What's really interesting, I just want to make sure I know for our vlog here, is one of my favorite wineries that we went to was, what was the one with the dinosaur?
Oh, Saurus.
That was the name of the wine.
Oh.
Ooh.
We'll put it right. Family Schroeder.
Yes.
Familia.
Familia Schroeder. This was a really exciting bodega to visit, and in South America they usually refer to these as bodegas, the actual place where you taste the wine. So what was so exciting about this particular bodega is that while they were building it, they came across all these dinosaur bones. And so to me, how cool is that, not only to go to this area where you're kind of tasting these kind of new and upcoming wines, but also to be kind of in this
Archaeological site,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So inside the bodega, they have this little museum that kind of showed where they found the bones, and they even...
It was the exact location
It was the
within
exact
the
location.
bodega or within the wine cellar where they actually found them.
And sorry.
And what was cool is, a little hot, what was cool I thought, is that when you look at the wine bottle, you're like Saurus. Is that someone's name or something ridiculous? And then you find out, oh my god, it's actually referring to Dinosaurus.
Yep.
So you think at first, kind of a stupid name, Saurus. And then it's like, oh my god, that's such a cool story.
Well, they have a dinosaur in the bottle, so it shouldn't be that... it shouldn't be that much of a surprise.
Just looking at the name.
But in addition, and this is something I wasn't planning on talking about, but while we were there, that is actually, like Harry said, a very big place where they're discovering dinosaur bones, and there is a place, and I did try to, oh my, this would have been such a phenomenal experience, but I did contact a couple of the areas where you can go and stay overnight and help the archaeologists.
Archaeologists. All of a sudden, I know all these crazy terms.
It's not that crazy, but dig for dinosaur bones. And so, unfortunately, it was closed during the time we were there. So if you are watching this and you're a traveler and that's something that would appeal to you, I will put the information of who to contact at the bottom, because I did find a contact. It was very difficult. But how cool would it be to have a little wine and then maybe take a couple days to go dig for some dinosaur bones? I thought that would be an amazing experience on our RTW.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, like I said, it was closed.
But Mary Jo can arrange that for you,
Oh,
too.
that's right. Yeah, she did have some.
you want to.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
She had some contacts where if you want, as part of your tour, to kind of experience some of these things, if that's something that appeals to you, she is a contact.
Yeah, and I
so,
think it's good to spend a time of year. So,
yeah.
right?
So-
So from there, we went up to Mendoza City. We were going to stop at San Rafael, but we couldn't find a nice spot to take a little... Actually, we couldn't find a spot. Here you go.
I am so sorry. It is so hot out here.
It's got to be probably 100 degrees right now.
And we were putting this off, but what happened was monsoon season started like Sunday, and it has been raining
Which is
nonstop.
a few days ago.
Yeah, and so we have been inside our condo waiting the rain, and it finally broke, and so we're like, we need to do a vlog. So our apologies, but Thailand
And
is just not,
It was about 20 degrees cooler about 2 hours ago.
yeah, in a breeze. So we're like, let's do this, and now it's just,
Dripping sweat.
they say, there's a little catchphrase here, they say, teats, this is Thailand, well, this is Thailand, right?
Yes, exactly. So we really wanted to stop at San Rafael on the way to Mendoza, just because we really wanted to visit that region. Unfortunately, we couldn't find a nice place to stay that was around a week length duration for us at a good price. So we ended up skipping it. We said, let's spend the time in Mendoza. There's plenty of wineries there. So that's what we did. We ended up in Mendoza for 2 weeks. No, was that for 2 weeks? Yeah, 1 week. So we ended up, we went to Mendoza for 1 week. We took one night off to go on to Lujan de Cuyo. And then we spent the next week back in Mendoza City. So we were able to go to all three of their
Major wine regions,
yes.
right, correct.
Valley-
Because there are 3 wine regions. Maipu,
Yep.
Lujan de Cuyo, and
Valley de Uco.
yeah, Uco Valley. So we did manage to hit up all 3 regions, which we were really lucky, because during that time we did get a bit of
What? Oh, travelers.
Giardia.
What do they call that?
Giardia?
Giardia, or what was the man?
I don't know, but we ended up truly getting
I'll look it
Giardia.
up.
So we were kind of lucky to be able to kind of proceed because we were
had
out for about a
5 days
week.
that were like, wow.
Yeah, that's the sickest we've been.
Ever. I think that was.
So let's quickly go through those regions. With Maipu?
Maipu, you know, that's where you go for, you usually rent a bike from Mr. Hugo.
Yes.
Right? And you take a bike tour, self-guided bike tour of the region. Depending on the weather, it was really hot. We said, let's not do it. Let's just walk to a winery nearby, because there's one about maybe half a mile away, and then go out for lunch afterwards. There's supposed to be a halfway decent restaurant right by. We'll feel like we're in the wine region. We'll have
a good
a
introduction.
local wine at the restaurant.
Right.
Great. So we got there, and of course the winery we walked to, it was siesta time.
No, it was closed. Remember, we were trying to research in it. We were kind of almost...
No, that was siesta.
What was?
The first winery we walked
Oh,
to.
the winery. I'm sorry, honey. You're right. Go ahead.
So we walked to that winery. It was closed. It was closed for siesta from like 10 to 2, some ridiculous time. So it's like the afternoon is shot.
Yeah, and it's so inconsistent. A man, we tried to get some information at the Mendoza Information Center, and he said they're open in that area. They're open all day. So we went ahead and we went to go and check it out. And unfortunately, the information was incorrect. They do close for siesta time.
So you have to take that into your calculation. The other thing was we went to the restaurant afterwards, saying, okay, we'll just go right to the restaurant. We walked another, probably half a mile the other direction, and they were closed.
That's what I meant.
For like 3 months.
Right.
And if you go to all their websites, you don't see this anywhere.
Yeah, there's no notification. There's no note.
So we ended up saying, okay, let's go look and see if we can get a really good deal from Mr. Hugo, because I think he charged $10 a bike about.
And it was late in the day.
It was late in the day, so I'm like, he's got to, you know, they got to negotiate a little bit. I don't want to spend $20 to just go ride a bike to the winery and then have to pay to get in the winery or whatnot. So yeah, they were willing to negotiate like $1. And I said, no, screw it. Let's just go back on the bus, take the bus back, and go out to a nice restaurant in Mendoza and have a local wine from.
Did we even taste any wines there? I don't believe we did.
We tried.
Oh.
Oh, not in this, not
No,
during that day, no.
no.
But at a restaurant.
Because that area is kind of known to be a backpacker route. You're kind of going there more so for the quantity as opposed to quality. So a lot of people go there, they drink kind of on the cheap, and they just try to hit up as many wineries as you can. There's a few really nice ones in there, but majority is kind of just get the people in and out.
And when you're in the city, you have to like sort of bike out to the vineyards. So the city's just really ugly.
Yeah, it was disappointing. A lot of garbage, kind of industrial a little bit, if you will.
Yeah, it was just beat up. I'm like, this was sort of my first impression of Mendoza, and I'm like, oh crap, what the hell happened?
Yeah, but it gets better.
Yes, it does.
So
then, go ahead.
We ended up making a reservation for Lujan de Cuyo
B&B.
B&B, and it was such a great experience.
Yes,
Because-
highly recommend.
yes.
Worth it. It was about $110 a night. But the guy who owns it,
Nacho.
Fabulous. I mean, he picked us up, drove us to the vineyards, made reservations.
Right, when you first come, he sits you down and you each get like almost like a little individualized time with him, and he calls up the bodegas, he makes reservations, and like Harry said, he even drove us to some for free. So it was so nice to have this contact there. I feel like that's one of the biggest things that we took away with, is that some of these vineyards, you need a contact, because otherwise you're spending too much money on taxis and transportation to get from one to the other. They're not close by.
And if you wanted to book, there's tons of people who book these mass tours in Mendoza, and they go for like $300, maybe $400 a person.
They're really expensive.
Ridiculously expensive. So we did that for probably, like, we did better tours, more private tours, for probably a third.
Yeah, and
of what they were.
Harry has a great tip, and this was his idea. It was a phenomenal idea.
Hear that?
We ended up walking into a hostel in Mendoza to try to see what do backpackers do, because usually backpackers on a budget.
Well, you are a backpacker.
That's true.
Kind of.
Well, we weren't at the hostels though. We were in nice apartments.
But but you think, okay, right?
Yeah, what are these people doing to do this on the cheap? Because it's not an expensive, it is an expensive place to visit.
It is.
So if you do want to do an organized tour, a good tip is that you can go to the hostels.
If you're not staying in one, go check out what
they can offer.
Yeah.
If you're looking for more, if you want transportation, if you want something more organized.
To get a good ballpark idea of what's really the lowest people are paying for these tours, right? You just to make sure you're not getting ripped off.
Right. I think what I do remember from our notes is that if you wanted to do an organized tour in Maipu with a picnic lunch is around $75 US.
Which which is not worth it.
No.
In Maipu.
No, because we took a public bus to get
Because
there.
that's literally right. That's like a 20-minute ride on a
Right.
bus.
And the bus was what? Super,
$1.
like, yeah, $1
Maybe
to get
less.
there.
I think it was $1 for both of us.
Yeah.
But then this Valley de Uco,
Oh.
Uco Valley,
Uco Valley.
for those English people out there.
Yes. Amazing.
Beautiful. That's where they're charging.
That's the
where
highlight.
they're charging $250, $350 a person to take you out there.
Right.
Because it is about an hour away from Mendoza City. It's the fancy vineyards where you're spending maybe
For the high quality wine experience.
$20 a person for tasting, but well worth it. It was beautiful.
So we took a bus out there.
Yeah.
Really easy.
And we were very lucky because there was one taxi sitting outside the station,
Yes.
and it was for us somehow.
I don't know what we would have done because we don't have a phone. Like we said, we don't carry
No.
a phone. But lo and behold, there was a taxi waiting out there, and he took us right
whole
to
day.
all our reservations.
Yeah.
And so again, what we did was I contacted vineyards in the area. I set up reservations to whoever did respond to my emails. So you're kind of at the mercy of who responds. And so we hit up a few wineries in that area, and then we planned on doing an amazing lunch at, what was the name of the restaurant?
Azul.
Azul
Winery,
Yes. Because what we found with exploring wine country is that the best thing we think to do is to hit up a couple wineries and then enjoy a really nice lunch. I feel like that's the best way to explore because you can only drink so much wine.
Some people can.
Yeah, well,
No, before you start being like, okay, I'm not feeling so
yeah, like
well.
it's making you almost a little bit sick.
Yeah.
So hit up a couple wineries and then go find yourself in this amazing restaurant, you know, with
And have a
beautiful
nice
views.
lunch.
Yeah, and get a bottle of wine and enjoy a nice lunch experience. That's our favorite way to
Especially
explore.
there when you have to really pay for the tastings. Like when we went to New Zealand and Australia, all the tastings were free. You know, it's like, well, let's go for one more tasting.
Yes.
But here, the tastings are pretty pricey.
They are.
So if you go out to a lunch and just order a bottle of wine, enjoy where you're at, enjoy the views, because especially in the Uco Valley, you have a beautiful mountain range right there.
Yeah, the Andes Mountains, snow-capped. I mean, beautiful, right?
Yeah. So definitely do that. And we were just so lucky because the cab driver just kind of picked us up from the 3 or 4 wineries we visited that day. Maybe it was 3. And just followed us along for about $10 for the whole day.
Right.
Whereas, you know, once again, if you go with this package deal, you're spending upwards of $500-600 for the day.
Don't be afraid to
And I
take
think-
public transportation.
I think, and we had a 5-course meal with a bottle of wine. I think the whole day was about $150.
Yeah. Which, and it seems like a lot, but when you compare
When you
these
compare it to the
experiences,
$600 and
yeah,
you're with a
tour
mass
that
group.
most people are doing, it's well worth it. And these are our favorite kind of excursions. I almost feel like our RTW has been kind of going to all these different wine regions and exploring it because it's something we enjoy, and it's like these are our excursions that we've been doing on our RTW.
So I thought one of the funniest moments of the wine, traveling that day was Lujan de Cuyo, right? We left the lunch that Nacho dropped us off at. He said, oh, you remember the way back to the winery we just visited, right? Because we were supposed to go there after the lunch to go for a tasting because he just wanted to verify that we could get in. So I'm like, yeah, after we drink a bottle of wine, so we're like a little bit of... And then, so we leave the restaurant and I'm like, okay, we're supposed to go left. Audrey goes, no, we're supposed to go right. I'm like, are you sure? I'm pretty sure we're supposed to go left. She's like, no, I'm positive. We have to go right. Okay, fine. So now we're on foot, and it's about 100 degrees out at
It was
least,
hot.
and sunny, and it's like the desert. So we're walking down this road. We walked for like a mile. So it's about 20 minutes. We have a reservation in about 20 more minutes. I'm like, okay, this is definitely not the way we came, Audrey. Are you sure? Maybe not. So then we had to backtrack like the whole mile back, walk to the winery. We showed up at the winery.
Sweating.
Yeah, it was a very sophisticated one. I forgot what it was. Dante Rabino. Very fancy, very nice winery, and we're just drenched in sweat. We're like, do you have water? We're like dying. We need water. So she's like, oh yeah. So she's like, here, you know, she gives us a cup like this.
Right.
And we're like, no, that's not gonna be enough because we lost.
Kind of like how we are now.
We're no, way worse. We were dying. We're like,
Needless to say, I've kept my mouth shut about directions since then because Harry's the guy that he's the direction guy. I've just
better sense, right?
Yeah, you do have a better sense of direction.
So that was Mendoza. Holy shnikes. You gotta be careful here because you don't know what the heck's gonna pop out, right?
No.
Audrey we went to the laundry room the other day. Audrey saw she's like, I was going to the washing machine.
Yes, he was helping me with laundry.
Yes.
Great husband.
Yes. And I have my head down and she goes, what did you say?
I said, Is that real?
I'm like, what? And I look up, it's like 5 feet from my head, and it's like...
This huge gecko.
Yeah, but you think gecko, you think like that. No, it was like, the girth was like that. It was like that long.
We'll show you a picture as we're talking about it.
I'm like, is that wooden? Or is that real? And I'm like, that's real. Holy crap.
Welcome to Thailand, right?
Yeah, so
yes.
Oh my lord.
So moving on, after Mendoza, we headed up to Santiago, back into Chile.
And thank God we paid for the suite. So, because they say it's supposed to be about a 6-hour bus ride to cross the border. It ended up being, I want to say, 9 or 10 hours. And you spent 3 hours at the border crossing. And we had our beautiful beds on the bus, basically.
Did, yeah. With food and drinks, English movies. So
Andesmar.
Oh,
Is that who? I think it was through Andesmar. So very nice. The black leather seats.
It is worth upgrading to that really comfortable seat because that crossing was ridiculous.
Horrible.
It was ridiculous.
And the windy roads and everything else.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, but it's a long day on the bus.
It was.
So expect it.
But we made our way back into Chile, like we said. And we used Santiago almost as kind of our introduction to Chilean wine country.
Yes.
Yes.
And so you visit Chile, right? Chile for what wines? So really?
Maipu?
No, what varietals?
Oh.
That's the region. Good.
Yes, yes, yes.
Carmenere and Torrentes.
And Cab.
Well, that's what we found out. I guess we didn't really realize. You know, that was what I really came to taste, is the Carmenere and Torrentes, because that's sort of what Chile's known for. But the Cab, the Merlot, right? Even a little bit of the Malbec.
But we have Cab, Carmenere, and Syrah.
And Syrah, yes. Cab, Carmenere, Syrah, and Merlot. All fabulous from Chile. And I would say so we're actually so long-winded today that the camera shut down on us, so we had to sort of reboot it really quick. I think that's a good... I guess that clearly states how boring we are. Even the camera shut off.
But when you're drinking wine, you just want to bullshit. You want to BS. You want to BS with the BS travelers. So
yes, all of those wines, if you're looking, I think this is where I got cut off, but in Chile, great if you're looking to get a nice wine, maybe for some party or something you're going to, you don't want to spend a lot of money, you want people to enjoy the wine, head right to the Chile section, grab a nice Cab, a nice Merlot, Carmenere. It's Carmenere, people are like, what's a Carmenere? It's from Chile. Oh, you don't know? Yes, perfect. People will enjoy it, they'll have a good time, and you didn't spend a lot of money.
No, and Chilean Chardonnay.
Yes, so Colchagua Valley, absolutely beautiful. I would say it was both of our favorite places to visit out of Argentina and Chile.
Yes, and it's so charming and it's so beautiful. I don't understand why most people would want to, I don't know why it's not more well known, to be honest with you. And just take note that a lot of wineries have these little things that kind of appeal to the tourists to kind of draw them in, whether it be a horse carriage through the vineyards, maybe a, what are the things that go up the mountains?
Funicular?
Yeah, not funicular, the little trams, like the,
okay.
What are those things called?
I don't know.
The things you sit in and go up the mountain.
Oh, Sky Rail or something.
What's that called, a Sky Rail?
We'll look it up. We'll fill it in.
The little boxes you sit and go up mountains. Even some vineyards offer hiking tours, and they all have their little niche that kind of separates them from each other. But you don't necessarily need to even be drawn into that. Go to these places, and that's another thing that we did to save money. We would go and have a glass of wine each and just sit among the vineyards and look at the mountains and enjoy. You don't have to do these expensive tours. And in fact, we had a lot of reservations for a lot of these tours, and at the moment we are like,
well, we
why
don't
are
want
we
to spend $50?
No, why are we paying this money?
Let's just go have a glass and enjoy here.
Right, sit, relax, have a glass of wine. It's a great way to do it on the cheap. So we highly recommend that route when you're
so
trying
you
to
don't have to do the tour. Just grab a glass at the restaurant.
Yeah.
And you'll get a really good feeling for the vibe, and if you're looking for information, people will, they'll answer any kind of questions you have. The waitresses, the waiters, they'll all know any kind of information related to the winery.
It's a great thing to do. A great budget savvy way to explore South American wine country.
And then after that we ended up to Valpo, which was nice. I would say our big, and for those who don't, Valparaiso, right? And so the big thing there, I think, we got away, absolutely beautiful. In that little historic area, right? With the funicular hills.
Yes, up on the mountain.
And outside of that, it's just a huge disaster.
Stay within that area because it gets very, very unsafe, right?
Yeah.
Stay within that little touristy area.
But not so unsafe that you have to worry. Just it's not somewhere I would want to go walk around and go say, oh, let me go try the local food or something ridiculous.
Yeah, but we did a free walking tour though, and do take note that a lot of the places that we went, the guides did say there's these kind of cute college kids that do these tours. It's tours for tips, and so that was a great free way for us to get it inside, because Valparaiso is full of all this beautiful artwork that's all spray painted, and it's a lot of kind of world-renowned artists that are doing this stuff all around Valparaiso. And the college kids, they were kind of saying like, this is an area you really necessarily wouldn't want to travel during the day. So it was
at night.
At night.
Yeah.
So the little tip that we found was this really cute wine boutique.
Antonio Wine Boutique.
Yes, yes, and it was kind of not very well known. Even the guides, it's hidden, but even the guides that we inquired about this weren't aware of it. And you
go down a very little street, and at the bottom of the street there's a slide. I'm sure it's like a 20 or 30 foot long slide. It's probably the only slide around, so if somebody knows where the slide is, you know, that's where it's at. It's at the bottom of this slide. But a great place to go have a glass of wine, maybe before dinner. They brought a nice plate of cheese.
Cheese and nuts, and I think it was mostly cheese and nuts, but for free. For free with your tasting.
The glass of wine was a little pricey, so I'm sure it's built into that price of the wine. But still, really good value, right?
Right.
You get the glass of wine, you get a little nibbles before
little
dinner.
Jazz music, which was nice, you know, nice.
Yeah, it was. Beautiful scenery from there, because it's a little, you know, it's up on the hill. So, really beautiful spot to take a couple pictures, enjoy a glass of wine. But I think that was our highlight of Valpo too.
It was really pretty.
And after that, you can go right to Fauna for dinner. It's literally like right next door. If you know where Fauna is, look that up. That's easy to get to. This wine boutique.
Take the slide right down.
Take the slide right down. Audrey took it.
Yeah.
I have some video of it, but it was really bad because I was looking at her and not what was on the screen.
Right. But just to conclude, thank you so much for joining us on our little tour through wine country. It's not something that everybody enjoys, but Harry and I, we love wine, and it's kind of our passion, and we're learning more about it as we travel through the world, right? And we're learning more, and it's just one of the things that we truly enjoy. So this vlog might not be for everyone, but it's something that we're passionate about. And
so if you went to Uruguay, what would you drink there?
Good note. Tonight.
And if you went to Argentina, what are you going to drink there?
Malbec.
Can't go wrong with Malbec.
You can't go, but what else?
I would drink Torrentes if I was looking for a white, but it's a more floral. And Audrey wasn't crazy about it.
Not like the floral
wines. You can go with an Argentine Chardonnay. If you're going to Chile, you have to try the...
to me, Chilean Chardonnay, hands down.
Well, what else? For red. Carmenere.
Carmenere.
Yes.
Yes.
And then of course you can, that's the go-tos, right? Like, that's what they're known for. But, you know, explore the cabs. Explore the Pinot Noirs from Patagonia. The cabs from Maipu in Chile. Even the Merlots, the Syrahs. But you can absolutely never go wrong with the Malbec. It's almost impossible to find a bad Malbec.
I know.
You can go to like all these and the Malbec will be amazing.
I know. We miss South American wine. There's nothing like it, I think. No. You could drink so well for so cheap.
So next will be episode 11, and did you talk about how episode 9 was skipped?
No, and we just, if you're made it this far.
If you've made it this far, God bless you.
Yes.
You must be drinking a lot or you fell asleep.
But thank you, we have to say thank you to our followers that, you know, this
noticed.
Yes, that noticed, because
Observed.
Our brother-in-law, which was most likely my sister-in-law, I should say my brother-in-law, most likely my sister-in-law, noticed that we skipped over episode 9. So a shout out to them, a little cheers to them, because we were impressed that they were like, hey, what happened to episode 9? We know that someone is at least watching our documented
The first
travels.
5 minutes, or maybe the first minute.
That's true. He might not even see this. But as always, thank you for following along, and you know, it's just, we love documenting our journey as we make our way around the world. So.
Yep, and so next episode 11, we're going to do New Zealand and Australia together.
No, India.
And then India will be episode 12. Cheers.
Cheers. Salud.